Hello, I'm Donna Rodriguez. Welcome to the Kingston School Committee candidate interview. I want to take a moment to thank our candidate for participating in this interview and collaborating with PAC TV to bring this informational programming to residents and voters this election season. Let me explain the format. We will be conducting a one-on-one interview-style Q&A format with each candidate, lasting about 30 minutes. Responses will not be timed, and follow-up questions may be asked during this format. We aim to ask up to 4 questions, but that will depend on the length of the responses, along with any follow-up discussion during this exchange. Candidates will be allowed to address anything not covered or that they would like to add clarification to at the end of the interview in their closing remarks. Let's get started. Today we're speaking with Sheila Vaughn, one of the 3 candidates for the Kingston School Committee in the Kingston Town election. Sheila, thanks so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Well, love to just dive right into this. We've set the timer for 30 minutes for us. And tell me, what do you believe is the role of a school committee member, and what do you see as the priorities of this committee?
Sure. So there are 2 committees in Kingston, and so there are the Kingston Elementary Committee, which is the K through 2, and then also the 3 through 6. And we do also have the preschool, the integrated preschool. And then there's the Silver Lake Committee, which is the middle school and high school. So, and that is the 3 towns. So really for the Kingston Elementary School, which is which I'm running for, really is that pre-K through 6th grade. And it's for those students who, are moving into our town, and or parents who have been here forever. We have our townies, and my husband's a townie, I like to say. And, really going through that system. Some school systems have 1 school, some systems have, 2. We are very lucky, we have the 2 schools. So working with those principals, working with the administrators to have the best system we can out there with our small town.
But it's a very engaged town.
It is very engaging town.
So how do you see it in this position? How would you see your role in working with other town departments, especially when it comes to advocating for your own organization during things like budget development, when all departments are looking for pieces of the same pie, honestly, with limited resources?
Well, it's funny we have to talk about this today because I was just on capital planning last night. And so it is very difficult in this role. I am also a selectman in our town of Kingston, and so knowing budgetary rules, this is my 9th year on the Kingston Elementary Committee, and so being that I have seen the finances and seeing what towns have gone through, there are good years and there are bad years, and really being able to understand that police, fire, streets and parks, they all have to have a piece of it as well, and it's not just the schools. The schools are a big piece of the budget, so it is very difficult for people to come and see, well, why does the schools get 3%, but you're telling me 2%? And that's a tough role to be in. So really, we have to understand the roles and what can be kicked down the can, as we like to say, or what needs to be done now? What are our priorities? And we really worked hard with the superintendent and with the town administrator. We've actually started to have meetings quarterly regarding these things with our capital planning, having a 5-year strategic plan when it comes to our capital planning. What are the big projects coming up? So the town isn't not knowing that there's going to be a roof coming for the elementary school in a few years, which will be coming in a few years. So those are important things to have, and those conversations have to happen early, not the year you need it. It needs to be years in advance to know that those things are going to be happening. And so I'm happy that that is starting to happen. But some years, we won't get what we need, and that is a difficult situation. We used to get $50,000 from the town for technology, and now we don't have that anymore. So in the town, we have to look at our budgets and really see what is necessary. And especially in this environment, everything's necessary. So how do you do that? This year was a tough one.
How do you see working with the school department around that?
The school department, we're very lucky in that we have a wonderful superintendent and an assistant superintendent. Our Christine Healy, who is our business director, is outstanding. She's been here forever, dealing with 5 different districts and 5 different school committees. I can't imagine what we're doing because we have the out-of-district vocational, we have out-of-district, we have our 3 towns that we also have to pay for, plus we have our own town. So it is very difficult to have them understand all the roles of what is needed. The 2 principals, Dr. Whipple and Mr. Vanberry, are wonderful. We have numerous conversations with them regarding budget and making sure that we understand what is necessary, what's coming down the pipe. And you have to have those good conversations with them and make sure that we are understanding, what's going on in those schools, what is needed, what new roles do they need. Behaviorists are a huge thing this, coming up with the COVID just happening and having remote for this long. It's been difficult. So what new roles do we need? What roles are phasing out? What do we need in the schools? That's a huge dynamic, and we have to listen, I believe, to the administration and the principals, but we also have to listen to the parents. And so that's a huge role of the two of them. And for these past 2 years, that's been a difficult role when it comes to being on the school committee.
It certainly is very complicated, and it's not going to change anytime soon. So there's a lot to consider. Now, what do you believe is the biggest challenge facing our schools today, and how do you think the school committee can help?
So one of the biggest challenges really is keeping our kids healthy and safe. Social media is a big dynamic with me. It's getting younger and younger, and having that safety for the schools. Safety is a big priority to me. Getting it out there early on with students, understanding safety, understanding, we do the Alice drills at our school, but really, as we've gone to the pandemic, I would say the pandemic was our biggest role for the past 2 years, but now we're phasing off that. But the health and safety of our students is still extremely important. COVID is still out there. So making sure that these students are staying safe and healthy, and that we're still doing those mitigating circumstances to make sure that parents and students are feeling safe are really important things to me regarding the schools. And of course, keeping one of the best school systems going, making sure that we have the best teachers and we're paying them at a good rate so they're not leaving, that we have all that infrastructure in place, that we have the art and the music that is extremely necessary for our students to be able to have that piece, and it's not just English and math, So that's a huge dynamic to work with, but I do think that we have a great team of people that want to do that. So.
And how do you think specifically for the school committee, and given that you are dealing with different people in different committees, how do you feel that you can make an impact on the safety within the schools specifically?
And it is so important for us to have our voice of our towns. When we do have what's called a Union 31 meeting, which is the different towns together, you really have to voice these opinions. And I think it's very important for the school committee to voice their opinion to the administrators, and also for the parents, and for, I'm very open to having parents talking to us. Write me an email, tell me what's going on, how do you feel about it? We want them to have that voice, and we need to have that voice for them. So we need to be strong in what we're asking for and make sure that we're doing the right thing for our kids and for our parents and for the students, and making our teachers safe and our kids safe.
Thank you. What are your thoughts about how the district and the school can encourage involvement and participation from families?
This is a really hard one with families. Everybody works and they have 7 other things that are going on. They're doing their sports, they're doing everything. They're just getting dinner on the table. That's a hard thing. How do we get them involved? How do we get these parents to go to those parent-teacher conferences? How do we get those kids to stay involved in the school? And really, it's the outreach. We have got to do that. We've kept those virtual parent-teacher conferences, which are so important, especially for me as a parent who works. I love these virtual parent-teacher conferences. I think it's so important to keep that aspect of not trying to find a time at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to go to the school for my 10 minutes with my teacher. But that's the thing that we have to work with. Parents are so busy, kids are so busy. How are we keeping them engaged with school, just engaged in school as it is? My son has ADHD and ADD. Keeping him engaged in school is very difficult. He's a 6th grader. I work very strongly with the special education team with his IEP. We're very lucky that Marie Grable has brought in some of those programs to our school, so they're not going out of district. They're staying in our district and staying with their peers, which is great. But for parents, we have to be strong for our kids too. We're their parent, and I always say, we're the one that loves them the most, so we're the ones that have to do the most for them. And so we have to advocate for our own kids, but as a school committee member, I have to advocate for the parents that don't have that voice as well. So when they come to me and say, I'm having an issue, I want to advocate for them. That's an important piece of that, because some parents aren't as strong as I am or will say as vocally as I am. So I want to be able to hear from that parent that says, I'm having an issue with that teacher, or I'm having an issue with this program. And we take that to the principals and to the superintendent to get the help that they need.
Are there other things or other ways you think that you can further encourage more involvement across the board with families?
I definitely think so. I think programming is a big deal to me. I think the more program we have, the more outspoken we are, the more transparent we are. It's great. We still keep our Zoom meetings for a school committee. Well, it's Google Meet. I'm not a fan. I like the Zoom better. But I think it's great. I will keep the Zoom going until I can't have it anymore. Kingston just brought into a bylaw that we have to have all meetings be virtually so that parents or anyone in the town can be able to see it in real time. And that's important to me because I want people to be able to get to this. Not everybody can get to the intermediate school at 6 o'clock on a Monday. But if we do it virtually, most people can jump on while they're at the ball field or they're doing, they're doing dinner and they can jump on if they have a question. So to me, being able to be accessible to the parents and to the students is really important. And I think for the principals as well and for the superintendent, that's not a 9-to-5 job that they have. So they try to be accessible on other things, like going to some of those ball games or going to other things in the community so I can talk to parents. That's a big deal. And I always say to them, go out in the community and see the students, not just during school committee or during school, but during other events, during pickup and drop off, having those conversations.
Excellent. Thank you. So many townspeople might think that money is the solution to improvement, but what significant improvements do you feel can be made in Kingston that can occur without money?
So, structurally, you have to have money to fix bathrooms or roofs or those types of things. But we can do infrastructure here that doesn't cost money. We really can. There are programs that we can do from within the schools that the music program in itself has grown exponentially with our music teacher. He's done now chorus. We're doing instruments. And there are things that we do with a lot of grant funding that we've gotten, but it doesn't cost us money. But really, we got to think outside the box. We can't always be asking for more money. When it comes to certain positions, like a behaviorist, important. But what can we do internally? Art courses, we're doing art classes with the rec now. It's great. The students are able to get out there and do more with that, but it's not costing us any money, right? So our art teachers are like, hey, I'll do some courses with the rec department, or I'll do some after school activities with the technology and the Minecraft, and those kids really love it, and it's costing us nothing. It's the teacher's time that they want to be able to do. And I tell you, the Minecraft club and the technology club are very popular at the intermediate school, and so the art club will be coming up as well. And I think the music, the instruments this year were fabulous, and that's not costing us but the time of that teacher or that person to come in and do that, and the students love it. And I'm a big art music person, so that's, to me, that's one of the bigger ones. So my son also likes gym.
So, towards the end, after we finish the questions, we give you a couple of minutes for your closing remarks. You can address anything that wasn't brought up, anything particular you want viewers and voters to know about you and your candidacy. So I will let you go ahead and address directly the viewers if you'd like.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me today and talk about the schools. And to me, I believe that the schools are important. And so what I talked about today about the schools and safety and students and the administrators, what I want people to know is that I've been on this committee for 9 years. I've been through so much. I've been on numerous subcommittees. This is not a committee where you can go once a month and say, I'm going to come once a month on a Tuesday. This is a committee that is consistently meeting. When it comes to a subcommittee, I'm on Pilgrim Red Collaborative, which is for the special education out of district. I also go to many different meetings. I go to the Silver Lake meetings. I try to go to other meetings, especially capital planning, FinCom, just so I can hear what's going on, because they are talking about the schools, and it's important to be able to be that person that goes and does outside of those meetings and talking to the parents, and you're getting emails daily from parents, and it's not that, it's a volunteer position. There's no money to it. I've been the chair now a little over a year after Eric Crone had stepped down, and I enjoy really being the chair and being with my committee. I think the committee's wonderful, but I'm not a chair of one. It's a 5-person committee. It's a great committee of really strong parents who really, and community members who want to be part of it. And I like to say that it's not just me that's going to make these decisions. It's the full committee and the administration. So although I'm one person that I really feel confident that I try to listen to parents and students and the administrators and try to really understand what's going on with this town, but also I'm not one-sided. it's very easy to say I'm anti-mask, I'm mask, I'm ADL, I'm not ADL, or there's certain things you want to talk about. The critical race theory, some people are really interested in now, but it's important to know that you have to be streamlined and you have to listen to every side and both sides, and you have to understand what is going to be best and make the right decisions. And so I really try to do that and not have my own agenda when I go into this, and that I'm going to have what the students and the parents and the administration are looking at and make it the right decision for the town. And it is difficult with what's going on. It's been very hard these past few years as DESE has come in with their mandates and taken their mandates off, and every 5 minutes they change something. So, the ebb and flow of what's happening in schools, you have to go with it. And, if you want to be on this committee, it's important to know that it's going to be something that takes your time. It's something we love and that we enjoy. But there are meetings, there are negotiations, there are probably about 10 committees that we have that are subcommittees that you have to be involved in as well. So sometimes you're not going to see your kids play, or you're not going to be able to, have dinner with your family because you have to go to these meetings. But my family understands now. They get it. They have their Lucky Chums for dinner. But I'm very lucky in that aspect. So I appreciate the time that everybody's taken today to listen to me and to be able to hear that. So I'm very proud to be on this committee.
Thank you so much for being a part of this and coming here today for your interview. We really wish you the best of luck throughout your campaign and in the election. And we'd like to, for our viewers, thank you for joining us. If you're interested in watching replays of this interview, please visit our website, pactv.org/elections, for replay times and online viewing options, including PAC-TV's on-demand and streaming service, PAC-TV Prime. And please make your voices and your choices heard by voting in the election on April 23rd. Thank you and good day.